This is the Solid Signal podcast for the week of July 4th, 2022, and you better bet I am recording this on Friday once again. I normally record on Mondays, but of course Monday is Independence Day, and I will be exercising my independence from the workplace, as I hope you are. And if you are one of the folks who is working on Independence Day, let me say I am grateful for you. If you're, keeping a supermarket open or a hospital or anything that is critical to life these days, I appreciate you. I absolutely do. And I'm also not quite sure when you're listening to this podcast if you're at work. If you are at work, more power to you, my friend. More power to you. The subject of this week's podcast is what brings us together. And I'm going to try to tread very carefully because this is not a political podcast and it never will be. It's not the sort of thing that I really want to talk about. But at the same time, every so often, I feel like there's some stuff that I really need to say and that other folks might want to hear. It seems like it's been a very, very long time since we as a country felt like we were, one nation indivisible, as it were. You're probably familiar with those words. And, that makes me sad in a lot of ways. It seems like there is so much that holds us together, that makes us the United States of America and not the divided states of America. And if we all kind of sat down and thought about it, we'd realize that we have so many values in common, and where we tend to differ, it's in execution. It's in how you get to where you want to go to, and not what we really, really believe as a country. I'm not going to sit here, my friends, and tell you that we haven't made mistakes, whether it was in the last 16 to 20 years or before then or whatever. The process of making mistakes is the process of growth. And that's something that you have to realize as you go through it. And so we make mistakes as a country, as a people, as individuals. We make mistakes. We think about what we've done and we move forward and get better. That's something that we all share. One thing that's really neat about the United States of America and the opportunities out there is that you could have a guy like Jerry Chapman, who started Signal Group and SolidSignal.com, the parents of this podcast, who 20 years ago, give or take, had an idea that he was having trouble finding something. He was having trouble figuring out where to get what he wanted. And he figured if he was, then other people might be too. And so if that is the case, then there was an opportunity. There was an opportunity for a website to start that catered to people who were looking for the same kind of things that he is looking for. That was the beginning of SolidSignal.com, and SolidSignal.com was the beginning of Signal Group, and everything that followed after that was a consequence of that idea. And we've all had that kind of idea, and we've all had that kind of entrepreneurial thought. Not everybody has the opportunity to act on it, and some folks have let's say headwinds, and some folks have a little bit easier time of it. But the point is, here in the United States of America, let's celebrate the fact that it is possible for one person to start with an idea and 20 years later turn it into something that leads the country and in fact the world in its particular segment. I'm very proud of Signal Group. We do more mobile and marine activations for satellite than anybody else on the planet. We offer a set of tools and parts that are available nowhere else for the kind of people who keep this country running. High-end consumers, prosumers, facilities managers, who all go to SolidSignal.com to get the things that they need. We run a best-in-class content operation where you can find the tutorials that you need for free just so that you can get it done yourself, because the spirit of doing it yourself is another thing that's important here in these United States of America. I say that kind of, I stress that, the United States of America, because it's my firmest hope that as we move forward, that we begin to find the common ground that we need. It often feels like we have nothing to talk about with those people who oppose us, that the issues of the day are so big and so threatening that there simply is no way to get around them. And I'm sympathetic to that. There have been times myself in the last, generation, really, it's been such a long time, where I felt like something was so wrong, so heinous, that I didn't know how to even address it. And I didn't even know how to address those folks who disagreed with me. It's hard, my friends, it's hard. But in the end, we really do have so much more in common than you would think. We all have intentions to make our own lives better and to make the lives of other people around us better. And that's what it really all comes down to. And if we sit down and think about it that way, think about what we really want, we can come up with solutions that make sense for everyone. There are so few cases where something is open and shut. There are so few cases where something is true or false. And I'm not saying there aren't those kind of cases. But with collaboration and with open ears and open minds, we can do so much more. That's the lesson I get from having worked at Signal Group for well over a decade now. And it's one that I'm proud to share with you. That's my kind of off-topic rant for this week. I hope that you had a great Independence Day. If it's already past you, I hope that you will if you haven't quite gotten there. And when you get back to work, when you get done with your vacation and your barbecues and all that, and sitting out by the fire pit, that sort of thing, do me a favor and check out the great stuff at solidsignal.com. Let the experts help you with whatever it is that you need. We're here for you, and we are available. We're ready to help. That's it for the Solid Signal podcast for this week. I look forward to talking to you next week. Until then, of course, like and subscribe. Makes me look good to my bosses. Leave a comment anywhere that you watch or listen to this podcast, and I'll see you some more next week.